Hey everybody, this is part two of home recording for dummies, and today I'm going to record one of my songs on Garageband on my phone, and I'm going to show you how I do it as I go along. Where I'm going to start is just some Garageband basics on the iPhone, and we'll take it from there. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to just show you some pictures of what the app looks like when you open it up and just ways to get set up to start your recording. So hold on, let me share my screen. And what I've got here is this is what you see when you first open the app. All right, now obviously I've been recording on here, so that's why there are, there's files here. But there just won't be anything there if you've never used it before. And then over here on the top right, this is where you start to add a new recording. Now, if you click on just the plus sign, it'll give you various options. We're going for the audio recorder option. Just we're using the phone as a microphone for voice and an instrument. In this case, I'm going to record my guitar, but you can see over to the left and over to the right that there's other options. There's like these pre-programmed digital instruments that you can use. But for our purposes, we're just worried about the microphone. So what I suggest is you just click on this plus sign here that has the picture of the microphone, and then you'll just go right to it. All right. The next thing is once you've chosen this is the next thing you're going to see. All right. Now, if you've never used GarageBand before, this is the kind of thing that looks kind of scary. Like, what are all those knobs and buttons and what do all these things mean? All right. I'm going to say, let's just keep it really simple for now. Let's just not worry about these buttons here. I'll talk a little bit later about if you want to play around with these sounds, but this is the default settings, and I'm just going to keep them as they are for now. They do have an impact on how your recording sounds, but just for simplicity's sake, let's just not worry about it for now. Now, when you look on the left, it says in, and as you talk or play your instrument, you should see this little green stripe here. It should go up, move up and down, and that'll indicate that the microphone on your iPhone is picking up the sound of your voice. You can do the traditional check 1 2, check 1 2, and just check that out. And then this is for listening. See, it says monitor. Right now it says off, but if you click on the word off, it'll change to on. Now, the other thing is that, as I've suggested in my first article, I've suggested that you pick a tempo, a speed for the song you're going to record, and then plug in the speed into the recording software. So what you see here is a picture of a metronome, and when it's blue like this, it means it's on and you'll be able to hear it. And if you click on this, it'll turn this color gray right here, and then you'll know it's off. All right. When it's on, what you'll hear is our 4 clicks before the software starts recording. When you hit record, and then it'll start recording, but you'll hear the sound of the metronome, or as you would call it in the studio, the click track, while you're recording. And you'll also hear it when you're doing playback unless you turn it off. All right, but we want it on for while we're recording. The next thing you want to do is set up your first track. So you want to go to the far right here, and there's this plus sign, and when you click on it, it'll take you to this screen. Okay, now what you want to do, so this is section A, that's your first track, and see how it says 8 bars, that means 8 measures. Now, I don't know how many measures my song is, and I may end up, I want a little room to play around. So what I do is I click on this right hand arrow here, and it brings me to this next screen. And I click on automatic. If I click this on, this white dot will move to the right and you'll see a blue background, right? If you don't do that, what'll happen is, or if, you know, when you don't know how many measures a song is, or even you do, but you just want to give yourself room to play, you know, for the way it's set with 8 measures like this, it means that when I hit record, after I record 8 measures, the software will automatically stop recording. And I don't want that to happen. So I click this here to make it automatic. So for whatever the length of the song is, and then I hit done. All right. So once that's established, then I'm going to go back to the original screen, and on the top right, actually, let's go back to the screen share. Here we go. I'm going to go back to that original. Yeah. So this here, this is a settings menu here. Click on that because that's where you're going to be able to set the speed, the tempo. And let's go to where it takes you to. All right, here we go. So for this song, and by the way, I'm going to record a song I wrote right after I got back from Belfast from the Your Roots Are Showing music conference that I went to in January. And it just inspired by some of the people that I met and played some music with. And so the song, the tempo of the song is 60 beats per minute. So when, you know, clicking on this right arrow, I can change the tempo to 60 instead of 110. It's in 4/4 time, 4 beats per measure, so I'm going to keep it there. The key signature is actually D major, which means that the chords and the melody of the song are based on a D major scale, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, in D. It starts and ends with D, and I'll make it a D major. If you don't know what the key signature is, just leave it on C major. This is a feature that's helpful for a bunch of things that you may not end up needing to use. So don't even worry about that. But the time signature is important, right? You want to know how many beats per measure. If you need some help with that, you know, just hit reply. Happy to help you figure out the time signature. And the tempo, the speed, that's really based on what feels best to you. And that's something that's why I suggest you figure it out while you're practicing before you start to record. Once you start to record, even if you're doing it at home and there's nobody else around, you know, you're probably you get a little nervous, you're excited and stuff, and then you're going to tend to play the song way too fast. All right. All right. So that's part 1. So now I've got it set up. So the track is set up. So it's just going to record. It won't shut off automatically. It'll shut off when I decide to shut it off because I'm done. And I've got the tempo, you know, 60 beats per minute. And it's all ready to go. And now I can start to record the song. All right, so now I have my guitar ready. I'm tuned. I'm in Dadgad, in case you're wondering. And the song is called Magic Lingering. And I have my Garageband all set to go. Now, when you're looking at the screen, that original screen here, this red button here is what you press to start recording. What it'll do is it'll move it to automatically to another screen. If you want to look at what that screen's going to look like before you start to record, if you press on this, what you'll see is a picture of a little guitar on the left, and then you know, like this ruler up top, and that's where the sound waves are going to show up once you start to record. So you can go there and just take a look at that, you know, before you, or not. I mean, it's going to go there anyway. And then I have the metronome function on, and now I'm going to get started. All right. And the other thing is that I've got the lyrics and the chords right in front of me, right here. So as I play, and I'm going to hear, I've got my headset on, I can hear the beat from the click track through my headset, and I'll play that, you know. So let's get started. Well, oh, one more thing is you're going to hear me count off before I start to play. I'm going to hear 4 clicks, because it's 4 beats per measure in my headset, before it starts recording. And then I'm going to count to 3 of the 4 beats, and then be silent for the 4th beat, and then start on the 1st beat of the next measure. The reason why I do it that way is so that once I put other tracks on, if I'm going to add any other instruments, then I can hear the count off, and I know exactly when the original guitar track is going to start, which is important for singing. Sometimes in this song it is, because the vocals come in fairly quickly, but for someone who's adding an instrument and they want to come in right away, or they want to start playing, sometimes if I'm playing a lead guitar part, I come in just a little bit before the main guitar track comes in. So it's counting off, and then I don't say the number 4, so that when I'm making the final version of it, I can cut off my voice counting and not have that be part of the final product. All right, so let me show you what that sounds like and what that looks like. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now, I made some mistakes toward the end, but that's all right, because I'm going to go back and fix it, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But in the meantime, I've gone through the entire track, you know, and there's a couple of little things that I'm going to want to fix, but in the meantime, you know, I have the full track. All right, now we're going to start doing some editing, and I'm going to start with editing the guitar part I just recorded. Toward the end, it gets a little bit wonky, and so I want to redo it, okay, without losing what I've already done. So I'm going to show you what some of the you know, what are the things that you're looking at look like. So I've just recorded this. This is the track, and that's like the sound wave of the guitar part. Let's see. Yeah, anyway, if you touch that with your finger, it'll highlight it. If you take your finger and you touch right up here in where this like ruler bar is, what it'll do is pull up this arrow that looks like so. And what that does, this is where if you start playing the song or recording, it'll start recording or playing from right there, wherever you put this. Now, if you see this little break here in the sound wave, that's where I took a listen to it and I'm watching the sound wave. This is where I want the recording to start. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my finger and I'm moving it manually so that this white line here goes to here. And then when I hit record, it'll start recording from here. All right. Now, one of the things I'm doing is I'm going to listen to it so I know what to do there. So the other thing is if I touch on the sound bar there, it gives me a bunch of different options here. But what I really care about is that see how it's white over here. Once I've highlighted this, I mean, I could delete the whole thing. I could copy it and create a whole new track, you know, that's exactly the same, but that I want to play around with manipulating. But for right now, I'm going to take my finger, and using my finger, I'm going to move this right to this point where I want it to start recording. Recording over what I did here, because I've made some mistakes in there that I want to fix. Okay. So now I've got my headset on, and I'm turning the metronome back on, and oh, I have these automatic hand things going on in my Zoom there. That's why it raised my hand, because I talk with my hands. So I'm just going to listen to it again, make sure I'm in the right place. Right, let me move it back here to where I want to start recording. Before that, see that here, that little bit of a pause, and then I start to play again. That's where I want to punch it in. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to move that needle right where I want it to start recording. And yeah, now I'm going to turn the metronome back on. I want to turn my headset back on. So the metronome in particular will only come through the headset. I can hear the guitar coming through, and I screwed it up again. So now, once again, I'm going to hit that. Let me show you. See that? Oops. This arrow here, when I hit that, it'll undo it. All right, so I'm going to do that again. Here we go. Now, after I stopped playing, notice how I waited. I didn't turn it off right away. I let the guitar ring out, okay? That's important. So I think I got it. So let me listen to it. Let's see. I'm going to pull it back. Let me turn off my headset so you can hear it too. All right, turn the metronome off. All right, so I think it sounds okay. All right, so I'm just checking in. So now I'm going to add a track so I can add the vocals. Now, how do I do that? So let me share my screen again so you can see what I'm doing. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to take the phone out so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I hit the plus sign. Brought me back to the audio recorder. I touch that, et voila. Here's my second track. All right, and now I can record my vocals. Now, here's the thing. Just like with the guitar, if I get to a certain point in the song and I want to keep going, you know, I've made a mistake and I want to go back and do it again, but I don't want to do the entire song. I can take my finger, I can hit on the place where I want to start recording again on that ruler bar. I hit that, I hit record, I'll hear 4 beats from the metronome in my headset before it starts to record, and then I'll start after those 4 beats. So it's a way for you to go through a song and not have to like nobody does it perfectly all the way through, you know, like it turns out, you know, people like Beyonce and Celine Dion and Barbara Streisand, you know, they go into the studio and they'll do like 25 takes of the same vocal part, and then they mix and match the best pieces of all of them. And you know, in the digital realm, it's amazing what you can do. So yeah, so let's take care of the vocal track. One other thing, I want to just make sure when you're recording a new track, or especially if you've been messing around with editing in one track, you want to make sure you're recording from the beginning of the track when you make a new one. So I just want to show you how you get that done. So right here, see this little triangle here, and then you've got the line on the left. If you hit that, even if your arrow is over here or wherever it is, it'll go right back to the beginning here. So just make sure you're doing that before you start recording the second track. Now, one of the reasons why, or the main reason why you use a headset versus just recording directly to the phone, is because you don't want the sound of one track to be heard on another one. You want all the sounds to be separate. So it just, because it makes editing possible in a way that wouldn't be possible otherwise. And then also then you can adjust, like you can make one louder than the other, you can add effects. You know, you can make one more echoey if you wanted, or add some, you know, get that electronic sound like Cher, you know, or whatever. You can add those kinds of effects onto different tracks, but you know, very often you want it on one track and not another. But in its simplest form, I just don't want to hear anything vocally on my guitar track, and I don't want to hear any guitar on the vocal track. So what I have is coming through my headset, And when I hit record, the sound of the guitar will come through my headset. I've turned off the metronome because I don't need it anymore because I'm not playing the guitar. And as I hear the sound of the guitar in my headset, I can sing along with it. I'm going to do just a little bit of it here. I'm not going to make you listen to me sing the whole thing a cappella. But here it goes. It happens when we find those places with people we don't know. We meet and there's an understanding from lifetimes ago. Then we take turns playing songs in the party's gentle hum, spinning strands of harmony into a web of love. All right, I think that's more than enough. All right, now I'm going to turn the headset off. So now you can hear it on my phone. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Now I'm just going to hit play, and you can hear what you're going to hear is you're going to hear the guitar and the voice. I'm making both tracks louder. Okay, let's try this. 1, 2, 3. It happens when we find those places with people we don't know. We meet and there's so it sounds like I'm doing both at the same time, but it's just two different tracks that I recorded separately. So I've recorded my guitar tracks separately. I've recorded my vocal tracks separately. And then from there, I can use this file and make it into an MP3 file that I can share with people. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. And I hope it's helpful. All right, so now, now that I've recorded the two parts and I've done the editing that I want to do, I'm now going to save it and share it. And I can share it as in a couple of different ways. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, this is a picture of the tracks I just recorded. You can see how there's a break here and there's a break here. That's because I took my finger and I tapped on here and then I tapped on there because I wanted to, you know, I made some mistakes, and so I did these parts again. You know, when you're singing a vocal part, there's going to be breaks in between one verse and another verse and then the chorus and stuff. So the editing's a little bit easier than when you're punching in for a guitar part, but you can see right here this line here that shows you where this guitar part left off, and then I re-recorded this ending part. All right, so that's nice to see. And to share it, and actually to save it, if you click on this button here, it brings this thing up, a folder called My Songs. Then you're going to touch that with your finger, and it's going to bring you to this screen where, you know, I've saved it by the song title's name, Magic Lingering. Now if I want to share it with someone, I go up to these three dots here in the top right, and I touch that with my finger, and it brings up this menu, and then I touch select, and then with my finger I selected Magic Lingering, and then I hit the share button right here, which brings up the choice of how I want, you know, what do I want to do with this file. Well, I can I can send the GarageBand files, like let's say I want to share the files with someone else who's using GarageBand, and I want to share the files with them so that they can add, add tracks onto it in GarageBand. I can do that. Or I could send it to another folder for myself. You can make ringtones for your iPhone, and in this case I'm saving it as a song because I want to share it. All right, so I tap on this with my finger. Then it gives me these choices. I'm going with the high quality here, which is the default setting, and I'm just fine with that. You see, like the WAV file is a uncompressed file. It's a larger file, so can be harder to send because it's just a bigger file. And AIFF, that's the iTunes file. And when you scroll down a little bit from that, it gives you the info about it. It says Janet Feld's album. I edited that, so I tapped on that with my finger, and then I can, using the little keyboard, delete where it says that. I put in the title of the song, Magic Lingering, and once I've done that, I tap on this. It says share, and look at that. Here's a bunch of people I've been texting lately. So what I did was I tapped on my friend Gretchen's icon there because I wanted to send it to her. I tap on that, and then it puts it into, you see there's the her name. Here's the M4A file, and then here I hit send, and I sent it to her. All right, so that's how you share your file. Okay, it's just a very simple. I recorded the guitar on one track, I recorded the vocal on the other track, and then I sent it out. All right, or it just might be something I want to do for myself. So give it a try. Send me messages if you have any questions, and I hope this is helpful. All right, have a great day.